Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Bhushan Monga from Department of Physics, Government National College, Sirsa. I am delivering the lecture on diffraction of light for BSc second year, third semester students. Diffraction of light, basically, it is a bending of light around the edges of an obstacle and spreading in the geometrical shadow. Basically, the wavelets which are not stopped by the obstacle, they will mutually interfere with each other to produce the fringes, as the fringes are produced in interference of light. But in case of diffraction, the fringes are produced when the size of the obstacle is comparable with the wavelength of light used. And the fringes produced in the diffraction are totally different from the fringes produced due to interference. In the interference, the fringes are of same brightness, intensity, and are of equal widths. Number third, the dark fringes are of equal darkness, means they are completely dark. Whereas in diffraction, the fringes are not of equal widths. The central bright fringe is 2 times more broader than the other fringes. Number second, the intensity of the bright fringes also decreases with the order of fringe. It means the central bright fringe is of maximum brightness. First order fringe has less intensity as compared to central bright. Similarly, second order is less brighter than the first. Third difference is of dark fringes. The dark fringes are not of completely dark. This is a basic difference between the diffraction and the interference. The diffraction is of 2 types: Fresnel diffraction and the Fraunhofer diffraction. This is a name of the scientist who has invented these type of fringes. In the Fresnel diffraction, the source and the screen both are at a finite distance from the obstacle. It means the wavefront required for this kind of diffraction is of spherical or of cylindrical in nature. In the second type of the diffraction, that is a Fraunhofer diffraction, the source and the screen are at infinite distance from the obstacle. The infinite distance means the rays are coming from, parallel rays of light are coming from infinity. This is possible only when the wavefront is of plane wavefront in nature. That is a plane wavefront. The examples of the Fraunhofer diffraction is diffraction from a single slit, double slit, and the N slits. N slits means the diffraction grating. And the examples of the Fresnel diffraction is a diffraction at a straight edge. Number second, on a narrow slit. Number third is diffraction at a thin wire. Now we will discuss the Fresnel diffraction in detail. Before we discuss the Fresnel diffraction in detail, we have to discuss the few assumptions. These are called as a Fresnel assumptions. Fresnel assumptions. The wavefront which is producing the light can be divided into a large number of elements. The smallest element, या हम कहें कि the elements, or second name is zones. These are called as the Fresnel zones of smallest area. Each smallest zone emits on secondary wave continuously. The resultant amplitude at any point is the combined effect of these secondary waves coming from various zones. The effect at any point into a zone of a small area depends upon the distance of this point and upon the direction of this point with respect to the normal drawn on the zone. As we know it already, when the surface or the point is normal to the zone, or we can say wavefront, or we can say emitting surface, then the brightness will be a maximum. The effect will be a maximum. As we bend away from the normalcy, as the angle as shown in the figure, theta increases from 0, or we can say we move away from the normalcy, the brightness, or we can say effect, goes on decreasing. This is called as a Fresnel assumptions. Now we will discuss the Fresnel's half-wave elements, or we can say half-wave zones. The plane wavefront as shown in the figure ABCD, which is a perpendicular to the plane of the paper and which is advancing towards a point P, can be divided into the half-wave zones as shown in the figure. According to the Huygens principle, every point on the wavefront becomes the source of the secondary wavelets reaching at point P to produce some intensity of light. The secondary wave emitting from point O travels the shortest distance B to reach P. All other elements, or you can say waves, has to travel the long distance to reach point P. The distance becomes greater and greater as we proceed on the wave front away from O. For simplicity, the wave front, which is divided into the zones of increasing radii such that the mean distance of a zone from point P increases uniformly in the steps of lambda by 2, where lambda is the wavelength of light. As shown in the figure, the distance of first zone is B from point P, and the point M1, which is the beginning of the second half paired zone or end of the first half paired zone, is at a distance B plus lambda by 2. Similarly, point M2 is at a distance B plus 2 lambda by 2, or you can say B plus lambda, and so if we want to calculate the average distance of first half paired element, then it will be B plus lambda by 2 divided by 2, that will be B is plus lambda by 4. These are named as half paired elements because each half paired element differs from the corresponding half paired element by a path difference of lambda by 2 and phase difference by pi. Half paired means the time to travel, the difference is of T by 2, capital T by 2. If we assume the average distance of first half paired element B plus lambda by 4 as x, then the average distance of the second half paired element would be B plus lambda by 2, and next is of x plus lambda. Now, as we have assumed, the half paired elements is nothing but a secondary wavelet which is emitting the waves in the forward direction, or we can say behaving like a wave. It can be represented by a wave equation, that is a y1 is equal to the a1 sine 2 pi by lambda vt minus x. Similarly, in the wave equation for the second half paired element would be seem to be similar to that. Instead of difference is that instead of x, it will come as a x plus lambda by 2, because the average distance of this second half paired element is of x plus lambda by 2. On solving it in terms of a phase difference, the equation come out to be minus a2 sine omega t minus phi. On adding these equations, it will give the resultant effect of all these half-bit elements. The resultant amplitude due to these half-bit elements will be A1 minus A2 plus A3 minus A4 plus A5. I mean to say all half-bit elements are positive and even are negative. The magnitude values of A1, A2, A3, A4, A5 is not equal. The value of magnitude of amplitudes depends upon the area of the zones, distance of the zone, and obliquity of factor, means direction. Area of the zone can be easily find out by finding the radius. Initially we will find the radius. As shown in the figure, M1P, by applying the Pythagoras theorem, M1P square is equal to the O M1 square plus OP square, or we can say radius OM1 is equal to the root of B plus lambda by 2 square minus B square. On solving it, it comes out to be OM1 as equal to the root of B lambda. Similarly, radius of the second half-bit element comes out to be 2B lambda root. Similarly, at the end, we conclude that radius of the nth half-bit element is root of nb lambda, or we can say that radius is proportional to the root of the number of that number. It means the radius, or you can say area of the each half-bit element is not similar, or you can say they are not equally spaced. As I will repeat it, the radius is equal to the root of nb lambda. Radius is proportional to the root of that number. For example, if in case of a second half-bit element, it will be root of 2. It is not exactly double. It will depend upon the root. Similarly, of the third is of root of 3. It is not 3 times. Second factor is of distance. Distance of the half-bit element, it is very obvious. As we increase the distance, the amplitude, or you can say intensity, will goes on decreasing, or you can say it is inversely proportional to the distance. As the mean distance increases, the resultant amplitude decreases. Obliquity means the direction. The effect of wavefront along a direction normal to it is maximum and decreases as the angle of inclination increases. It means in a normal direction, the amplitude or intensity is maximum. The amplitude, which is here represented as a R1, R2, R3 in the figure, they are not of equal amplitude as well as not, they are increasing with the root values. Hence, we can take the amplitude of the second half-period element as average of first and third. Similarly, amplitude of R4 of the fourth half-period element is taken as a average of third and fifth, and so if we put these values in the resultant amplitude, then it would be come out to be at the end as resultant amplitude as R1 by 2. As a special case, if we assume that half portion of the first half-period element is only exposed, other half is blocked, then the resultant will come out to be 0, because a1 by 2 instead of r1 we have taken the r1 by 2. R1 by 2 is cancelled with a r1 by 2 of the second, and resultant amplitude is come out to be 0. So we can create the intensity as we required in case of a half-period elements. Depending upon these, we can create the zone plate. We will discuss its principle, construction and working. Zone plate, it is simply a transparent plate on which concentric circles are drawn, where the radii of each circle is proportional to the square root of a natural number. The alternate circular zones so formed are blocked. I am to say, make it as a opaque. Either the odd circles are blocked, or even circles are blocked. Then transparent plate will behave like a convex lens. It will produce an image of the source of light on the screen placed at a distance, suitable distance. As we have discussed in the previous article, the radius of any half-weight element nth is proportional to the root of the n. For designing the zone plate, concentric circles are drawn on a white paper sheet. After that, alternate zones are painted black and diagram will look like as shown in the figure. In a negative of the photograph, so obtain the zones which are painted black will appear transparent and other will appear black or you can say opaque. The negative so produced on a reduced scale is called as zone plate. In the negative plate, the odd zones are transparent to incident light and even zone will cut to the light. Therefore, zone plate can be divided into two types: positive zone plate and negative zone plate. In a positive zone plate, odd zones are transparent and even zones are opaque. In case of a negative zone plate, even zones are transparent. When we discuss the working of the zone plates, as we have discussed in the previous article, in case of a positive zone plate, R2, R4, R6 are blocked, and in case therefore the resultant amplitude will be the sum of R1 plus R2, R3 plus R5 and R7. Approximately intensity will come out to be 10 times of the intensity in case of a simple source of light. We will discuss it later on in detail about the working and comparison of zone plate with a convex lens. If on comparing the zone plate with a convex lens, both converge the rays of light, but the focal length of a lens is inversely proportional to the refractive index of the lens. But the focal length of a zone plate is inversely proportional to the wavelength. Hence, it is a greater for violet rays than from the red rays. In case of a lens, as I have mentioned it, it is inversely proportional to the refractive index, or you can say directly proportional to the wavelength. It means focal length is greater for the red light than for violet light. It means both are opposite to each other. Thank you.